Hello, everybody. We are live here for the final table of the Float the Flop Memorial Day special. We are down to our final 9 players this evening. The final 9 here, we've got, I'm going to start from the bottom of the screen here. So the War Eagles, Andrew Berger to the right. Here is Keith Kyle, Kyle 2380. To the right, D's Nuts 9999. That's Rico Donati. Then we have Jared Paolino, DABU 7990, Durant 815, Pat Durant. Saudi Boy is Mike Johnson. Mandolin 1106 is Harry Dannenberg. Steel 3131 is Craig Steele. KGB 17 is Adam Johnson. So again, those are the folks that we've got here at the final table this evening. And we can see here, on this flop, which is now given a straight on the board, 7, 8, 9, 10 jack high straight. We've got Durant and we've got Paolino here. But 40K in the pot, they check, and ultimately they chop it up. Now, the set on the river, that's a strong hand to have. But unfortunately, with the straight on the board, they both chop that one up. What would have been interesting if somebody had a higher straight, of course, than the board, they would have taken that down. So here we see an open from Adam Johnson to 2,800, called by Steele. Or sorry, Steele actually re-raises, Johnson folds, takes down the pot. All right, so here we've got a raise coming from Dannenberg. Paolino calls, actually called around by Steele as well. And we see a little over half the pot here bet by Steele on the river. And the fold comes from Dannenberg. All right. So we see the folds come around here to Paolino, who makes a raise 7,700. Johnson decides to fold, and now we've got the all-in shove and a call here. Ooh, wow, look at that. Aces against aces. So, nobody can draw out a flush here if that flop, and we're going to see a chop come in. But, when you got aces, you're not afraid of getting the chips in usually, and they both got it all in pre. and ultimately chopped that one up, picking up a little bit of chips from the folks who had limped in and had to fold. So here we So flop comes 6 king queen, mixed suits. Durant picks it up here. So flop comes 6 king queen, mixed suit. All right, so we've got a raise, it's a min raise here from Johnson. Steele's taking his time on kind of making a decision. By the way, if you do have commentary, you can throw your commentary in directly on YouTube. We'll be able to pop questions up on the screen. And so Steele's going into his time bank. Now he could actually wait a couple of minutes on this one because he's got over 150 seconds of time bank, but I think he's trying to make a decision here. Does he want to re-raise this one, or does he want to fold? And he folds. And by the way, with Kyle out, the chop value here will adjust if these guys were to decide to chop it here, 8 ways. So Kyle won the 300 for 9th place. That leaves us with 9,300 in the prize pool. That makes the chop value approximately 1163. So we've got an all-in from Paolino. It's Jared Paolino, not Chris, in case anybody was confused. And now, Andrew Berger's got a decision to make. Does he want to call for about 40% of his stack or so, that all-in, take Paolino out of this possibly? Or, does he say, you know what, I'm going to lay this down? He's in a good position here to be able to win the tournament, right? Not losing that, losing 40,000 chips there puts that at risk. So, he tells everyone he folded a big hand. Now that could be something like ace, queen, ace, king, a drawing hand, where Paolino may have been ahead with a pocket pair. And by the way, if anyone is interested in joining the stream here, actually, we do have one person who is interested in joining the stream and coming on live. Reach out to me. We can make that happen. We get So a couple of requests coming in. One, make the table bigger. That's easy enough to do, thanks to these advanced concepts here in Windows. We can just drag a window and it suddenly gets way bigger. So that's taken care of. I'm going to just drag this over a little. All right. So main window is larger. Next question that came in, is Jared related to Chris? To my knowledge, no, he is not related to the infamous Chris Paolino. So Richard hopefully will be jumping in on the stream soon. He is actually waiting on me to give him the credentials to access the stream, which will be shortly coming. So, great. And so those of you who are wondering what our remaining payouts are, by the way, those are on the left side of the screen. Up top, $3,050. The next spot that goes out gets $335. Right now, the average stack is 80,000 chips, so that's that's actually exactly 50 big blinds, with blinds at 800, 1600, and the 200 ante. By the way, if anybody is looking to play Pot Limit Omaha tonight, there is a Float the Flop Pot Limit Omaha tournament running. Bert is taking care of that one. And if you check the group on Facebook, you'll see the post about that. It is high-low, so more excitement there. So we see 10-7 actually good here for the middle pair. Brings Steele, up in chips again. He's got a pretty strong lead in terms of the chip count. For some reason, was not showing there, but as you can clearly see, he's about 60,000 chips ahead of anybody else in this event. And 60,000 chips right now is a pretty good number of big blinds. So we have an all in here. And all of them fold. So Mike Johnson and Pat Durant, those two really the shortest stacks here, but a lot of people in that under 50,000 category. Essentially, what we're looking at here, we've got 4 stacks that are relatively short in comparison, but they're not super short. And then of course you've got the 2 stacks over 100K. So we see a raise here from Adam Johnson under the gun. His play style has seemed to be fairly tight today. So, there's a good chance when he's raising that position, he has some sort of decent hand or decent holdings. But now we've got the all-in from Paolino, and the question is, does Johnson call here? And he does not. Well, a couple of things Corey just mentioned. We have a $50 satellite for next weekend's 250 coming up tonight, so you can get into that one on the cheap. And then Brent Bergeron wants to know what my thoughts are on this poker scandal accusation coming from Bill Perkins. So for those who haven't heard, Perkins is saying there's some sort of huge poker cheating scandal. Unfortunately, he hasn't named any names. He hasn't given any evidence of it. So right now, I can't really comment on it. I can't really give an opinion because I don't know if the scandal's true. Now, obviously, if people are legitimately out there cheating in online poker or live poker, it's obviously bad, right? You got to protect the integrity of the game. You don't want cheaters out there. It's the same as if you're playing poker online versus, say, playing Halo or playing Call of Duty. You don't want cheaters in any of those games because it's unfair to the people who want to play and want to play an honorable game, want to have fun. But ultimately, I think we've got to wait for the evidence to come out, and then we can look at it and see, was there really a cheating scandal or not here? And I guess so. Carl says apparently it's Jungle Man. Dan Blazarian tweeted it. So I'm gonna have to go take a peek at Twitter and check out what Blazarian has said. At the same time, I'll probably learn about some sort of product some sort of CBD product that's going to help me, because that's what Blazarian seems to be pitching these days. So I don't see anything posted by Blazarian since May 21st on Twitter. So I'm not sure what the deal is there, but we've got I guess Carl saying that Jungle Man was playing on a fish account in a private game for rec players like Bill Perkins and Dan Blazarian. But interesting, Blazarian's not really a rec player, right? He considers himself to be a professional. He did make a lot of money on poker, but I think he makes more money off of promoting stuff on Instagram now. Basically, you get a product and you got Blazarian and you got like 4 hot models in bikinis, and they're promoting CBD oil as the cure-all for life's problems or whatever. And then let's see here. I've got the other Paolino in the poker world, Chris Paolino here, saying that apparently it's not Paolino, it's Paulino. So apparently I've been screwing up his name. Interestingly, I probably would have been corrected in court, but he didn't show up. So here we see an open by Pat Durant. We got a call coming in from Rico Donati and a call coming in from Craig Steele. The Queen 9 Jack flop comes down. Donati checks. Steele checks. And Durant ships all in. So it's 12,000 pot. Durant ships in about triple that. And everybody has to fold here. So Carl saying Blazarian deleted the tweets. It looks like that's definitely the case based on me looking at his Twitter. Also, I guess apparently for some reason, so Twitter seems to be convinced that he has sensitive content on his account. So I don't know why they. Well, now apparently Dan Blazarian's account is suspended. So it's this is interesting. So Blazarian's account shows up on when I look on the mobile app. It says account suspended. Twitter suspends accounts that violate the Twitter rules. When I look on the web version of Twitter, the profile does load. So I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on. If they, I guess, suspended his Twitter account for something or whatever. So, and then, so Brent's telling me he tweeted 3 hours ago. Unless he has a different Twitter, I can't find it. So the Twitter that I'm looking at for Blazarian is at Dan Blazarian, all one word. If that's not his actual Twitter, like if his is different, if he's actually like real Dan Blazarian or something like that, that would make sense. But okay, here we go. So Carl says he posted a picture of the fish account guy with his name and part of his phone number. So that probably did it, right? So basically, if you try to dox somebody, Twitter doesn't allow that, and that's going to cause him to get his account suspended. So I guess what probably happened, they said, hey, we're going to suspend the account, and if you delete the incriminating stuff or whatever, then we'll let you have it back. So that's probably the deal with Blazarian's account. And Brent says he just deleted it. So yeah, so his account will basically get unsuspended, hopefully by Twitter, once he aligns with their anti-harassment stuff. So back to the action here. Looks like they're content checking this one down, and we've got ace 5 against jack 10. The jack 10 will be good for 2 pair. And for those who are looking for the details, by the way, on the Omaha tournament, it's a $44 10K stack, 10 minutes, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we've got a little under an hour to get in on this. And again, it is high-low. Just look for Bert's post in the Float the Flop group. So here we've got a re-raise all in coming from Harry Dennenberg. And now you've got Andrew Berger, one of the larger stacks, looking to make a decision here. And everybody decides to fold. Blinds, by the way, have gone up. They are now at the 900, 1800 level of a 225 ante. So where we see two players call, small blind folds through to the flop, 5, king, 4. Checks to Johnson here now. Now Johnson's betting a little over half the pot here, and the rest of the players have to lay it down. And with Johnson's stack too, being a relatively short stack, when Johnson puts out the chips there, a lot of the other players might be thinking if he's betting with that short stack, he might be ready to commit his entire stack. And so if they're going to call that 5,000, they've got to be prepared as the turn in the river come to call off, 25,000 more or whatever he's got. So again, we see a little bit more than half the pot being bet here by Johnson into the big stack, who calls the 10 of spades coming here on the turn. And by the way, Rich is now going to be jumping on stream. Hey, Rich. Good evening.
Hey, Matt. How we doing?
Hey, pretty good. So we've got some nice final table action here. You're looking at basically this hand here going down between Mike Johnson and Andrew Berger. And pocket queens are folded here with the ace and the king out there. And Berger says he was crushed, had one out.
I gotta try to figure out how to get this table screen bigger.
I know what we can do. Hold on. That should help. So if you actually can't go any bigger than this on terms of the screen.
The right side off, because you don't need the stacks on the right anymore, because you can see them all on the final table.
Yeah, that's true, but it doesn't let you drag the screen any bigger in stars. This is the biggest it lets you go.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah. So
let me
It's weird though that you'd think PokerStars would let you take up the entire screen, right? If you wanted to for a table, but it only lets you go a certain size. I think you're also, by the way, you're echoing a bit, so if you might want to turn your speakers down a bit.
Okay. It might be the ACR table that I have up. Let me see if there's a way to fix this. Alright, so I was actually pretty bummed. I went out of this fairly early today.
Yeah, so you went out, I think, in probably one of the first 15 or so out, right?
I'm not even sure, but yeah, I was top 3 in chips early. I was I think after the second break, and decided to open with 6-4 diamonds. Got 3-bet, called the 3-bet, and the flop was, I believe, 7-6-4 or 8-6-4, something 6-4. Straightening board, two spades, and I checked. Matty Showtime let out. I raised. He jammed. We both were super deep, like 150 blinds deep. I called, and the board ran out 10-10. So he counterfeited my two pair and left me fairly short early on. I would have had a really big chip lead, but it is what it is. So we're here commenting instead. I'm going to try to figure out a way to get this bigger.
If you are, so are you looking at the stream? You're looking at it through the StreamYard window, right?
Yeah. What if I go to the YouTube link and then I down screen the stream? That'll work, right?
Yeah. Just the YouTube link lags behind by like 5 to 10 seconds. But
okay, let me try something else.
So prior to this hand, we had both so Rico and Craig Steele about 30,000 in chips. Steele's now taken back a big lead. He's got 186,000. So he's up to over 100 big blinds.
Yeah, he had, we're seeing similar to the other week where there was a massive chip lead and even more short stacks this week. So
yeah, and actually Adam Johnson, another one.
What are the blinds? 1, 2?
900, 1,800. So Johnson had about 54,000 in. He had about 5,000 in chips earlier, and he just managed to double up, triple up, did it again, and got himself up to stay at the final table. He was on the way out and made a strong recovery.
Nice.
Are you using a headset or not, or just speaking into the laptop?
No, I just have a mic, but for some reason yours is really staticky too. So I'm not sure why.
Hold on. By the way, the old Chris Polino says that you made a sick call of a 3-bet with 6-4 diamonds. What made you think that 6-4 diamonds was a good hand to call that with?
I'm sorry, what was Chris's comment? That it was
he said
bad
sick
call to begin with 6-4 diamonds?
Right, he's sick call of a 3-bet with 6-4 diamonds.
I see it now. Sick call of a 3-bet with 6-4 diamonds. I mean, I don't know. It was early. Like, I'm looking to play pots. Like, I got the exact situation I wanted, other than my hand not holding up. Like, I flopped 2 pair, and he stacked off with an overpair, which is what I wanted. And I didn't think all the chips were going to get in. I really didn't. I was. Hold on a second here. You think all the chips were going to get in? I mean, he had pocket kings. I'm trying to think what the blinds were at. I raised to 300. So the blinds had to be like 50, 100, 75, 150. It was an early level. And yeah, we were. I was, like I said, I was over 150 blinds deep. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I mean, I love getting it on the flop. The 3-bet, yeah, it's not great, but whatever. I'm looking in that spot to do exactly what I did, but get a different result. I had a ton of chips. I'm looking. I still was in with just under 20 bigs even after that hand, but couldn't make anything happen.
Right, and at that point in the tournament, the average was like 80 big blinds, right?
Yeah, so like I was almost double average. Like I had like 24K, and the average was like 11K. So I wasn't really necessarily thinking that 80% of my stack was going to get in, but when I flop 2 pair and his most likely holding is an overpair, we're not folding.
So I guess people are saying we've still got static, which I hear my voice echoing back from your mic. So do you have a headphones or anything? Or
I don't think so.
all right, because that might help to do it, or probably just need to turn down the speakers a little bit.
Okay. Oh yeah, my speakers are pretty high up. Let's just turn this up a little bit. All right, that should be better, hopefully.
So the blinds have gone up, by the way. We're at 1,000, 2,000, and we see Steel raise 3x open here, the Jack 10 ace flop. And he's got, one of the relatively short stacks here, Pat Durant, firing off about half pot. Steel says, glad I didn't hit and call,
Have you noticed,
which is interesting. Unless he's talking about the last hand. So now he's basically forcing Durant to go all in. So Steel betting out 30K. Durant's got to go all in the call. And, with 13 big blinds, the question is, if you're on a flush draw, do you just call this and hope to hit?
Probably not. I'm trying to get this. I can't really see the stack sizes, but there's 2 shorter stacks than him there, I believe. So no, yeah, I would not be calling it off with a flush.
He's got, well, really 1 shorter stack now, Mike Johnson.
Okay. Oh wow.
Or the other thing. So
yeah, once I bust this ACR tournament, I'm gonna try to move around with the.
Yeah, you're still echo. You still echo a little. What it might be is the sensitivity on the mic needs to be turned down a little.
How the hell do I do that?
It's usually in the audio settings.
Okay.
So we've got an interesting, there's a little bit of debate going on here on, is calling essentially light deep with 6-4, is that a good move? Paulino says it's a horrible open 100% in any game ever. And back to the action here. So on the flop here, so Johnson bet out 10,000. Steel raised pretty strongly to 52,000. And essentially what this is doing is saying to Johnson, if you want to move forward, you're going to commit your stack.
Yeah.
And Johnson taking some time now to think about it. And Johnson opts to fold. So now, a huge chip lead for Steel. He's up to over 220,000 chips.
All right.
If you're on, are you on a Mac or on Windows? and we've lost Rich, or maybe he just went on mute. So we're now on break here between our last 8 players. They are gonna have 5 minutes to go grab snacks, grab a drink, use the bathroom, whatever they need to do, and then they'll be back to hopefully finish this tournament out. And then, ironically here, I've actually got to agree with Polino on the 6-4 suited, calling 3 bets. I feel like there's better spots to get the chips in.
All right, I think it's better.
So
Can you hear me, Matt?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Is it clear? Yours is clearer now.
I still echo back. Or like when I still echo back.
From my end or yours?
From your end. And
like, am I echoing or are you echoing?
So what happens is your speakers, when my voice comes out of your speakers, it comes back into your mic.
It's fine on my end. I don't know if the viewers are saying the same.
You wouldn't notice it, right? Because it's your speaker picking it up and sending it to the stream. So if you look in your audio settings, you should see there's something like microphone sensitivity. You probably just need to turn that down.
I restarted the let me see. Speaker headphone 22%. So let's try this. How about now?
So no, I still echo back from your end.
That's really weird. Because I'm using the same one I did last time.
Right. Well, we actually had this last time. Are you on Windows 10 or are you on like a Mac?
I don't think so. I think it's just, like I said, it's like a $200 HP. I don't even think it has Windows on it.
Wait, is it like a Chromebook?
No, it's just like an HP, whatever. Like the cheap ass laptops, they sell.
Yeah. So if
$200.
if you go to your sound settings, there should be like a tab that says recording, and then it will show your mic. And if you click on that mic thing, there should be a tab that says levels, and you just need to turn the level down.
I'm trying to get to that, but it's not working.
Or if you had headphones, you could plug in. That's Corey's suggestion, which would also work.
Would this might be it, right? Audio control?
Yeah, that should be it. So Sean Miller, by the way, is unable to jump on. He basically exited this tournament in 11th place, missing the money. He's not able to jump on, but his commentary that he wants to contribute is he thinks that Adam Johnson, who is sitting with about 50,000 in chips, he believes he is the best player at the table. And then He also says that so I guess he exited when he exited having pocket eights, and he needed to get the chips in there with a short stack, so he did it, and got called and got taken out. So here we see actually Johnson just opened to 10,000 in the blinds. I think he's going to call here. Yep. And it's the cooler here with aces versus kings. And yep. So Johnson out of the tournament here. Johnson went out in 8th place. So next person that exits here is going to get $380, and the prizes head up from there. Now, Paulino says sick limp by Saudi Boy of 6 big blinds. I would argue maybe, maybe you shouldn't limp there. Maybe you get it in, but I don't think it matters, right? Because you've got aces against kings. The guy with aces having a bigger stack is never folding. So it doesn't matter if he open ships kings. He's still getting called by pocket aces. There's no real way out of that. And with 6 big blinds, you're never folding kings, right? So can't say anyone played bad. It's a cooler. And here we actually see Harry Dannenberg all in, and obviously, everybody else folds. So Durant has 18,905 in terms of chips, shortest stack at the table, less than 12 big blinds. We see a raise
Did I
here
miss
on the
somebody
turn.
go out here?
Yeah, so you briefly missed. So Mike Johnson, pocket kings, and Adam Johnson has pocket aces. He obviously is calling.
Okay.
Yeah, and essentially, it's kind of a cooler, right? When you're short stack, you get pocket kings, the chips are going in, and obviously the bigger stack with aces not going to fold. So there's no real way to get out of that one. And then somehow, interestingly,
is the mic better? I adjusted it in the settings.
Yeah, actually, it is better. I'm not echoing anymore.
There's
so that's
there's actually this like noise suppression thing that like cancels out background noise apparently, and also does what you were saying, like the recording of the mic. So that's cool. I never knew it.
That's actually working.
Before, so.
That's actually working fairly well now because my own voice is not echoing back in.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
It's not echoing
them on, but the other one was not, so it's working quite well now.
Now, interestingly, so Chris Paulino is suggesting that he should have folded kings. What do you think about that? I can't find an argument for folding kings when you're short stacked.
Absolutely not. The more Slice talks, the more I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's a
I'll
shame.
I'll give him my 6-4 hand, but I know he should absolutely not fold kings.
I think if he's folding kings in that position, a lot of people are going to want to see him start playing more poker. And actually, we just have an elimination here. So Durant out in 7th place, going to collect $380 for that. So essentially, ace high, no good against a pair of queens.
Yeah. Slice, what's the logic on folding kings? I'd love to hear it.
I can't think of any
I
logic
mean,
there.
I
I
don't
mean,
even. The only thing I could think, I don't know what the. No, he was the shortest stack. The only thing I could think him saying is, if there was like 3 or 4 shorter stacks and he was going to ladder up or something like that. But
yeah,
it's kings. You can't fold.
yeah. I'm never folding there. That's not happening. So let's see here. So
we're down to 6 here.
yeah, down to 6.
So in that 250, I remember Adam. I don't know if you remember, we were talking about it on the bubble. Adam didn't want to pay the bubble. I'm curious if he will be also no chops at any point. I would assume yes, because if he didn't want to pay the bubble as a short stack, I assume along the same lines, unless he gets a great chop deal, he's ready to play it out. So
Yeah,
this one could be a little while,
this
even
could
though.
but I think he is the second shortest stack here, so it's possible he does agree with some sort of chop rather than try to recover back. But we've seen him come from pretty short all the way back to making the final table, so he's definitely not afraid to get his chips in when he thinks he's good.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, they're all in over here in my game. Oh, a set. Nice. Just got a ladder in my tournament. I mean, even though, like, when he had 5K, he still had, like, I think, like 50 or 60 bigs at that point. It was still fairly early, though.
I think he had, at the point that I think he had about 5,000 when the blinds were, it was like 200, 400 or something like that. So.
Oh, really? Oh, so
he 100. Maybe it was 150, 300, but. He wasn't super short, but he was definitely under like the 35.
No, it had to be sooner because when you had posted that was a little bit after I had went out and I had noticed that he had 5K and then like 27K and I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, and now we've got the all in from Dannenberg. It's called. It's ace 10 against king 10. King hits on the flop.
Gets the suck out.
Yep, that is a suck out for sure.
Ace or jack.
And Dannenberg, on the river, gets the the resuck out.
Staying alive.
Yeah, so that's a nice double up for him. He really needed that because his stack was quite small.
So did you find, I've noted you mentioned it briefly before, the Dan Bilzerian Jungleman. Did you find any info? Because I heard about that too, but I...
So what happened is Bilzerian tweeted the guy's info and phone number, which breaks a Twitter rule on like doxing people or whatever. So because he did that, they suspended his account. So that's why the tweet's gone.
It's okay. He'll just buy Twitter out or something, I'm sure.
Well, he doesn't have that much money, but because Twitter's. I know Bilzerian's a millionaire, obviously, but Twitter's market cap is like several billion. It's So their market cap is apparently about 25.6 billion. And actually, Twitter would have been a good buying opportunity back in March. It was down to 22 a share, and it's up to 32 now. Could have made a nice nice return there.
So I guess the burning question for Slice and you is what arrangement do you guys have on this final table for your business?
Well, I actually have no action on anybody today, so I don't stand to profit regardless of who wins.
Right, no, but I'm talking about your pending funds to collect.
Oh yeah, I'm still owed like $442, and the judge is gonna have to listen to him explain himself in court as to why he hasn't paid, and that court date's still pending though. So,
But hypothetically here, not to incite any fires, but if you were, is there a way that you can hold up funds in terms of your settlement? If Polino was to take this thing down and have $3,000, do you hold?
well, no, the Polino that's playing this is actually Jared Polino, not
Oh,
Chris.
it's Jared. It's not Kurt. Okay,
Yeah.
well then
That actually, so now that would require a separate court order to be able to.
Oh, so it's Jared playing.
Yeah.
I thought Chris was Dabu. Okay, then never
No.
mind.
So, but for the other,
So you have no
Polino-
hope of being paid back still.
Yep, but the other Polino essentially in court, the judge could say, you know what? Yeah, we're going to issue an order that says, you know, any income that he has can just be seized to pay off basically any judgments that the court's issued
Damages.
against him.
I see.
So here we've got a basically, you know, fold, and now Polino having 108,000 chips is pondering and calling.
Now, did he have a bigger chip? No, he won a
No,
big
he
hand
was-
at some
he-
point, right?
yeah.
I think I missed that one.
He won a big hand. He was actually one of the shorter stacks.
Right. I thought he was one of the shorter stacks when I first looked in. Now, has there been any? I can't see it. Has there been any chat in the? I haven't seen much. It looks like they're just playing. There hasn't been any chop or any
No,
kind of
they
deals.
They haven't been considering a chop yet.
Okay.
But in terms of the chop value, it would be 12.26 if they were to, that's just a straight chop, not the ICM if they were to look to do that. I don't think we're going to see.
No,
These
not
guys
with
really-
Steel so far ahead.
Yeah. I think, you know, if it ends up, if let's say the shorter stacks end up getting knocked out, we might see some sort of idea to say, hey, Steel, we'll give you almost first place money and the rest of us split.
How is his? I can't see that. What is his stack compared to the others at this point? He has a pretty big lead, it looks like.
Yeah, that could change here because he just put a quarter of his stack in on the river, but
Okay.
he had about 200,000, and nobody else had more than, you know, like 115K or so, or actually 110K. So
I was putting Jared to the test here.
Jared's taking time to think. So here, I mean, Jared's options. Jared thinks he's got the 9, right? Which obviously, if the 9, any raise is going to get called. So his options are really either call or fold if he thinks he might have a 9.
How big is that? The bet? I can't see the
40.
sizing.
So 48,000 is the bet into a 27,000 pot.
Okay, so he overbet.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's actually thinking of folding a queen or jacks or something. Both the flush missed and the straight missed. So
Right. And I mean, it's possible a hand like Jack
Alright,
9. Oh wow, look at that quads with 3-9.
Yeah.
So,
And the big blind,
it's amazing because
Yeah.
Polino goes, I think you have the 9 here, and he calls off anyway. So
I mean,
his first instinct was right to actually lay that down, but
did it show his hand, or did he say what he had?
he had a queen, so he folded, the full house, or he called with a full house.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
It's tough,
hard
tough
to fold that spot.
Yeah, folding a full house is not easy there. So now we see Johnson open up. This is a relatively strong open for him to 8,400 chips, and the action's folded around to Rico Donati. And Steele says he actually bet big because he wanted to make his opponent think he was trying to buy the pot and call off with worse.
Yeah, I definitely like the over bet there because 99% of people are not folding a queen. So if you have the 9, you should definitely go polar with your sizing. Want to flip? Damn it. 4. No. I really hate when you get to 12th and don't final table. It's just like I'd rather just min cash at some point. Damn.
Are you playing the it was ACR, I think, had the $1 million guarantee? Is that
No,
what you're playing?
I didn't play the milli. I played 100K and I just got 12th and a 4K. So I think I made like, I don't know, like $30, whatever. Well, profit on the day. So I made like 75 in that, and I lost 50. So I made $25.
So we've got a 18,000 chip pot here. We've got Polino against Steele. Steele the big stack. Polino smaller. 8-6 jack.
Okay, I got out of ACR, so now I can make the screen bigger and mostly see what's going on here. So we see the other thing is it was Paulino was what, second or third in chips when he lost that pot to Steele.
Yeah.
So it ended up actually putting him as the shortest stack. So I love that bet. Whether the 9 or a bluff, it's a good spot to put him. What are they talking about here in the chat? We got all of a sudden got a lot of chatter.
Yeah, so Rico saying basically he may have been with that hand with the quads against the full house, right? He may have been calling, hoping it was a chop that they both had queens.
Right. I think because the board has 2 hearts, and
we have an action board here now we've got 4 to a straight on the board,
4 to the 3 to the flush.
Yeah, plus we've got possible missed heart flush draw, possible hit with the wow, look at that. The guy turns.
It turns a straight and rivers a flush.
And he had the draw to the straight flush.
Nice.
So now we've got Jared making a raise here, again getting called by the large stacks. Nobody wants to fold when he raises apparently, and now he's betting out, and this is going to force him to go all in the call. He put about a third of his stack in here on the flop.
Yeah.
So I think with that stack size, I don't think I'm getting a third of my stack in unless my intent is to call any raise.
Right. Yeah. I agree there. Yeah, if you're raising and missing the flop and not going to go with your hand, then I mean, what was the?
And he's going to have 7 seconds to decide what to do here because his time bank had already been depleted. Calls. Ace-8 against pocket twos.
Jesus,
he's not looking good, and he's drawing dead on the turn, and that will end it for Jared. And now Craig Steele absolutely dominating the rest of the field here. So he actually had there's 640,000 chips in play. He has more than half the chips in play.
Yeah. Now, who is Steel Rico?
No. Rico is D's nuts.
Oh yeah. Okay, so who's Steel?
Craig Steele.
Craig Steele. Okay.
Yep.
We have an all-in from Mandolin.
Yeah, here we go.
I haven't seen Mandolin play. Have you? Is he new to playing? Out of the games, at least.
I think he's been playing for a bit.
Oh, okay. The other four, I've seen play multiple. Excuse me. Well, we have another all-in from Mandolin.
Yep.
And we haven't. And Fultz.
So Corey asks, "What is your table theme set as?" I think it is it's probably the default in Stars. We can take a look and see what the theme is set.
I didn't even. You can change them on here. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you can. So it's actually set to yeah. We could make it like look like a beach here apparently, if we wanted to. So
that's cool.
That one that's not downloaded, but we got an all in and a call.
Call.
Look at that,
what?
aces against Queen Jack, suited though. And here's a queen and a 5, and the aces are good. So, Steele has his lead. He's still in the lead, but that's been cut down. And actually, now the second largest stack is
Mandolin.
Mandolin. Harry Dannenberg went from shortest stack to second place here. And by the way, the blinds have gone up. They are now 1,200, 2,400 with 300 ante.
It's still everyone's fairly deep.
Right. Steele's got over 100 big blinds. Rico has 41 big blinds.
Yeah.
Andrew Berger with the 93,329's got 39 big blinds.
And even though Adam is short, he has over 20 bigs still, which is fine at a short-handed final table.
Well, actually, Adam now does not have he has less than 20 bigs. He's down.
Well, you see there, Steele continuing to run like fire and hits. So
Adam now with 7 big blinds, and I think he's likely to get it in soon, or now. Yeah, Steele ran out, got hit that straight there, and picked up some chips. So, and 7 deuce off is folded, and Adam will pick up the pot.
Best scenario he can see there.
Yeah. So,
chased him, I would have dropped it. I don't think Steele can really fold the open ender there at any point either. If Adam had like 15 bigs behind, and
right.
Is he saying he would have folded or something? I don't think it was.
He's saying Steele said check turn. I would have dropped if he bet.
Oh, if he had the turn. Okay. Yeah.
That was a quick hand. Everybody just folded. Steele in the big blind picks up the pot.
Another one, yeah. I saw your the post of Borgata and Potomac and Springfield canceling the East Coast poker run.
It's the entire set of MGM's East Coast stuff as far as tournament series went for the rest of the summer canceled. So
yeah,
even September was the Borgata Open. That's canceled. So the next thing we might see on the East Coast that's like a decent poker tournament would probably be the Borgata Fall Open in November.
We have it all in here. King
Yep.
7 against Ace Queen. Adam needs a club.
Yeah, no, he actually needs better than the club, but he did get a 7, but that's no good because the ace and the queen both hit for Rico. And so Johnson exits here. He'll collect 680 for 5th place. And so let's see here. 4 players left. That means that our chop value is now 1,856. Do you think that King 7 suited there is a good hand to get it in with? I mean, Johnson was down to about, I think, 9 big blinds, but still that seems to be a little loose.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of the stack differential that he's probably just getting in late and, he's going for it. That we see a flush here. Yeah, I mean, he was under 10 bigs, and the other stack had I think closer to 40 bigs. I mean, I think at that point you're getting your chips in with any ace, any king, especially shorthanded.
Right, and it was suited, so
yeah,
he does have that.
The pace of play was much quicker with 10K versus 20K. Well, it was a smaller turnout too, but
yeah, and also compared to the prior, so that I think that 250 that drew 96 players. This one we started earlier. We started at 1 o'clock instead of at 3 o'clock.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was a 2-hour difference.
But the 10K stack does definitely give an uptick to the pace of play, but I think the 15-minute blind still gives you decent.
We see another all in.
Yeah. Oh, we have a call here. Pocket 8s against pocket 10s, and so Steele's got to draw out if he wants to get the knockout here. It's not looking likely. And nope. So Berger doubling up.
I don't know if I love that call with 8s.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably coin flipping at best, right? When he moves in there.
Yeah, I mean, you're never. What was blinds are what 1632?
Oh, 1400, 2800. So he still had, it was a 33 big blind shove from Berger there.
I mean, I think with his stack size, you kind of have to call, but in my history against playing War Eagles, Andrew, I believe.
Yep, Andrew.
He's not getting it in late there. 10s is probably one of the worst hands. So I might make a tight fold there. Reason also being, he takes this one down.
Steele takes it.
What Steele has 225 and Andrew's got 204 now.
Yep. So they're pretty close.
It's like to me it's like a give and take of I'm gonna try to just chip people down versus going for the kill and then he's obviously dominated there. But I don't think he's gonna see worse than Ace Queen, maybe. He's never doing it with 3s or something.
Right.
So,
by the way, and according to Polino here, there was a donkey move to ship King 7.
Chris, I'm still waiting for Chris. Chris, what was your reason for folding pocket kings or whatever?
So his reason for that is that he's either an absolute troll and he's trolling us about folding kings, or somehow he thinks with less than 10 big blinds, you should just lay that down.
Maybe.
And if that's the case, I would hope he plays more poker for the good of the rest of the players. I would hope he plays a lot more.
So earlier you were saying Jared. I thought they were brothers. Is that a troll too? They're not brothers?
No, they are not actually brothers. So.
Oh. They were having a full. What do we got here? Ace 4. Oh, straight on board. Chop it up. They got me good bluff because they were having a full on conversation one time. We were, I think it was last week actually, talking about like family or whatever. I thought they were actually brothers.
Yeah. Carl, by the way, says he's trolling, which I'll believe that.
Yeah, I mean, but he's serious about my 6'4" being a bad call, which is fine.
So now, let's see. So we've got 9 more minutes of this blind level, and then we go to 1600, 3200.
Yeah. Let me see if. Oh, I was wondering why I wasn't getting the comments, and I didn't. I had it as private, so now I can see all the comments. Here's a 9, no one blessed. I'm not. So Slice says I'm not trolling. King is just one pair. Johnson has to have aces when he raises before the cards come. Easy fold. How many viewers do we have?
We had like 17. We dropped off a little. We're down to I think
Okay.
10 or 11 here. No, actually 12. So, yeah.
There's no
So-
fan favorites here in this tournament, I guess. So we need a final table that has all the fan favorites to get the viewership up.
I can tell you if the final table was if it was Chris Polino, myself, like Timothy Don Fisher, and maybe we get Sean Miller or like Corey or Joe Fursing in there. That would draw in some people.
If you make the final table, the stream will break. It'll be too many people on it.
Right.
You didn't play this, correct? You didn't fire, did you?
No, because it's actually challenging to try to play these and blog them at the same time because you end up getting distracted by the other tables, and then people get mad at you for tanking every hand, and it's not that you're intentionally doing it, it's because you're trying to write a story about a hand that got played at another table. So
Slice says you can't ever make a final table.
Oh, Slice missed out because before everything got closed down due to COVID, I actually went down to Mohegan where he's a low stakes grinder apparently, and I final tabled the tournament. Actually, won the tournament down there. So I was hoping he was going to come play that tournament too because he would have contributed to the prize pool and I would have won a little more.
You would have won a little more.
Yeah.
The one of the last times I played poker too. We see an all in and a call here.
Ace King, Ace Queen.
Ooh.
So, well, it's interesting that the suck out. Oh no, and the the suck out is good because he needed the 10, not the jack on the end. That's and he says effing gross. Yeah, that's
So we
that's
see
a huge twist here because now Andrew's stack is
this is
way big.
This is semi what I was talking about earlier.
Now he's shipping it all in.
Of course. Blind on blind.
Yeah.
Wow. I missed the full action there, but wow.
So we see Rico here raising into the big stack on the button. And he says the ranges you've been opening, I thought I was 97% good. And I guess Ace Queen is a strong enough hand to definitely consider 3-betting with. But, a lot of times when you get it all in, you're going up against a pocket pair you're going up against.
I don't think you need to pile that many chips in that pot with one pair, given that you're the two deeper stacks.
Right. Given that you have over, I think going into that hand, they had over 60 bigs or whatever too. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. So yeah, back to when Steele made the call with eights against the pocket tens, and it doubled him up, and
now Steele's all in. So he's called by Rico. It's ace 10 against ace 4, so Steele's way behind here.
And he's gonna draw to a chop here.
Not likely.
Nope.
And so Steele.
So he goes from a massive chip lead that should have third place locked up at least to out and fourth. Wow.
Yeah. And so now we've got 64.50 left in the prize pool, so the chop value is 21.50. But I don't think we're going to see a chop coming here.
No, I don't think so. Looks like Andrew's going to have his day here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of like that hand and stack depth, obviously as a chip leader you want to look to exert pressure, but you really don't want to put 30 to 40% of your stack in, hopefully flipping at best, when you can just have patience and chip people down. At least that's what I feel. I mean, some people just want to end the tournament, but they're plenty deep enough that you can just, if you're confident in your game shorthanded, that you don't need to flip. And then look what happened. He essentially handed him the tournament. Slice, you agree or disagree? Personally, I would have called a 3-bet with 6-4 there and flopped 2 pair and lost, but So Carl says the flop was ace, deuce, jack, 2 diamonds, flop, Steele overbets 36K into 25K, War Eagle jams for 188K, which was effective 56. I mean, with one pair, no, I'm ace, queen or not. I mean, I don't know that Steele opened first to act 11, 2.8K big blind. So we like 4x, Eagle flatted the button with ace, queen. It's kind of like ace, deuce, jack, diamonds, flop, Steele overbets.
I mean, I guess
I think I'm calling flop and then maybe making a crying fold on the turn. Obviously not loving it, but I think it's a good let's see.
The other thing though, that overbet that Steele made could have been that he's just on a draw, and so Andrew says, well, I have ace queen, top pair, decent kicker, right? And maybe figures, let's get it in here and see what happens. See if he folds. But
I think the thing is, because of your stack sizes, you have to pot control, and you have to have control of your stack, because the biggest jumps in a tournament are at the final table, and the biggest of those jumps are at the top 5 and the top 3. So it's like when you're in a position to win the tournament, you shouldn't. The 1 and 2 should never be tangoing in chips. You should be waiting and chipping down the other 2 stacks who are much shorter.
Yeah, and it's. I think unless you're in a case where pre-flop a big stack, is 3-betting you, and you have pocket aces, and you're gonna 4-bet him. In that case, it's going in. But
yeah, I mean, if you have aces and kings pre-flop, like I was before, I mean, if they were chip leading, but.
And that's actually what sent me. Here's one chop, both have ace 9 off. But here's one where I actually exited a tournament. I get pocket aces, and I raise. Other guy just ships in front of me. Some other guy calls the ship, and so I reship. And the one guy folds, but the other one who had already shipped, he has pocket queens, and the run out actually gives him quads, and that sends me headed for the parking lot.
Yeah, that was a tournament on here.
No, this was back at the Venetian in I think November of last year.
Oh, wow.
So actually, it didn't have me sent for the parking lot. It had me sent for
The
wherever.
hotel room.
Yeah, the I think it had me sent to the bar. Actually,
Fair enough.
drink away my sorrow of
So,
getting it in
have
good and
you
losing.
heard any updates? We're seeing. Texas has, I believe, full ring. I believe Florida is six-handed. Is Vegas still supposed to open four-handed when
They
they
are.
open? I mean, Vegas is opening soon, but what
They're
is the
looking
word
at
on poker in
yeah.
Vegas?
They're
Four-handed
looking
or?
at June 4th to open, and actually the Venetian. So four-handed is the maximum Nevada's going to allow initially, and the Venetian saying they're going to run four-handed cash reduced rake, and they're also going to do four-handed single table tournaments. So it's going to be $100 buy-in and winner take all. I'm not sure what the rake is on those single table tournaments, but if somebody happens to be in at the Venetian and they're just looking to play a quick tourney, could be a fun time to fire 100 and have the
I
chance to
don't
win like
know
350
how
or
they're
whatever.
going to have, or if they're going to have, maybe more so 1-2 than 2-5, but if they're raking at their normal $5 to $7 rake, it doesn't work four-handed. Like, you can't really have a high enough hourly to become. I mean, if you're playing for fun, then yeah, that's whatever. But
So
if you're trying to be profitable, it's near impossible.
so again, so Polino here claiming we don't know what ICM is. Actually, I do. I'm sure you do. It's the independent ship model.
Yes. Slice acts like I don't final table these things regularly, just because I made a donkey play, as you say, today. Even though I was massively ahead for the chip lead.
And on the topic of ICM, oops. So here are the ICM numbers, which so it'd be at 30, 50. Oops, to the right. Hold on. Nope, those ICM numbers are wrong because I put the wrong numbers in the calculator. That would help to. It would
It
help to
might
keep
help
the action.
if you put the.
So it definitely is a good idea to put the correct numbers in when trying to calculate an ICM chop. So now
Is it
that
three? Wait. Is it 3,050 to first?
correct. So 30, 50 to first, 2,000 to second, and 1,400 to third, and then based on the stack sizes, that gets you these ICM numbers.
Yeah.
But again, with Andrew's got more than triple Rico, more than quadruple Harry Dannenberg. So I don't think he's really interested in trying to chop this one up right now.
No. So Carl says I stone bubbled, so apparently I don't know what ICM is either.
That is true. He did bubble this tournament.
Carl, what was, or do you know what Carl's hand was?
I can't recall what his hand was, but he did bubble out. I want to say he ended up with ace high, and his opponent ended up with a pair of queens.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, even on the bubble, sometimes you just gotta get it in. It's what it is. Now, is it 250? Is next doing another 250 next Sunday? Was it 250? Was the 31st is what, next Sunday? Yeah, next Sunday.
Yeah. So that was during June. I was originally supposed to be taking a couple of trips. Actually, one of them was going to involve playing poker because I was going to go to Las Vegas during the Colossus and fire at that. That's now postponed to the fall. But the question is will they run the World Series? You know, if they're only going to be allowed to do four-handed in Vegas for the time being, maybe by the fall they get to six-handed or something like that,
Yeah,
and they run six max. It would be interesting to see, you know, the main event run as a six max, just because that's different and unique. But
so two points. One being that I guess today was the first day of the World Series, if it was to run, which is kind of weird that we don't even think about it at this point. As far as the main event, they'll never run that six-handed. I don't think. I think it's just it's been the format that it is, and until they can run it in that format, unless Corona becomes a thing for the next 10 years, and there's literally no other options. But the whole thing is so weird. The more that I read and see what's going on is you have some areas that are four-handed, these fucking shields that make no sense. I don't get the point of the shield, man. I really don't. You're still touching chips. You're still engaging.
the theory
air
is
still circulating around the wall.
right.
So
The theory is
the
shield will block some viruses from getting to people, but the issue is well, what if the air just picks it up and sends it over the top of the shield or underneath it or whatever, right?
So I'm all for being cautious. I don't plan on playing live till August. I've been invited to a bunch of home games at this point, and I don't know. Even then, that's outside of a casino, obviously. But it's until this situation gets situated,
here we've got a fairly decent pot here. Rico checks to Andrew. He fires off about 5/7 of the pot. Rico, to call this, it's about half his stack, so he thinks that Andrew might have the boat.
I mean, when you're short-handed, you shouldn't be folding an ace here. You can't just assume he has a big hand. Especially short-handed,
10 deuce. It's possible he's got a hand like ace jack or maybe ace, ace 8, ace 9, something like that, right? And then he thinks his two pairs are good.
Well, he would have aces and tens because there's tens on the board.
Right.
I'm curious, like I said again, I wish we had hole cards to see, if he's thinking of folding ace jack here or something ridiculous because he thinks he has a boat, which he very well could. He's definitely in the tank for this one. And probably a bad call. Well.
And he calls off queen jack. Wow. And he's actually good with the flush.
Oh,
that's crazy. So, and
it was a stone bluff from Andrew. So Carl says he had 17K, which was 13 bigs. He was the shortest stack. Few orbits, no one punting, so I shoved king queen off in the cutoff.
And-
Big blind calls with ace
And
jack.
that's how, see, that's how you can tell, though, that Andrew has some respect for the level of skill of Rico, because if he thinks he's an absolute donkey idiot, he's never going to try to bluff there, because he knows that the guy's calling with any ace or with any ace, if he has the flush, he's calling.
I think it's a weird play. I don't know what the action was. I dazed off here for a second reading some text, but I think the bluff is just really weird. He had queen six off. He had no blockers to a flush. He had, he didn't turn a pair into a bluff. It was just like a stone bluff that, like, Carl says no one bluffs. And we see
Here we go. We got the all in from Harry.
Bluff.
And Andrew is going to
call
call him.
Andrew with king queen the
He's
ace five.
behind. Well, that's
favorite game.
That's going to double up.
Slightly behind.
And in full house
Then
is going to be way good.
Oh no, never mind. I'm sorry.
That's
Did you
a full
know
house.
on the turn?
So,
psych.
and that's
He actually Rivers Broadway drawing dead. So that's
one of the one of the wild things here, right? When people get a big stack and somebody short ships them, they think, "Oh, I'll call because I'm not out if I lose," right? But that's how you end up getting your stack eroded away. And now Andrew's big lead that he had over Rico is gone, right? He's only got about 30,000 chips, which is about 10 big blinds.
Carl says if he's tanking like that with a queen high flush, it was probably a good bluff. Yeah, I mean, I thought his likely holding was an ace. Like, I'm probably raising the river with a flush. Like, I don't know what the full action of the hand was, because, like I said, I was checking a few text messages, but, like, I don't know how you arrive at that river with the queen high flush and not feel pretty confident in your hand, or at the least you just call it off. Like, if he's got a boat, he's got a boat. Like, I thought he was trying to hero with like pocket fucking sevens or something. I don't know. And no, he had a flush. That was surprising to see. I do agree though with Carl. Overall, like, not much bluffing that goes on outside of a few people, but most people. That's why I said. But that's also why it's a good bluff, because I haven't seen War Eagles do much bluffing, so I would think, he has a hand there, but I'm never, ever, ever folding a flush there.
Yeah, I mean, because his hand, I mean, he could have had the trip tens, right? That he would.
He could have been value betting an ace. Like, they're three-handed, so, like, on that river, straights and flushes missed, and he could have been value betting an ace and get called from an ace that the kicker didn't play or something. Like, I think the thing is, like, people see certain boards and are just like, oh, well, that we're short, but, like, maybe they have this, and it's like,
now here's on the river. Rico here bets 9,600, gets a pretty strong raise.
So I'm hoping he isn't folding a flush again. There's no boats out there, Rico. Get it in.
I mean, possible straight, right? 8-10, but
see. King 10, yeah. Well, the problem is, as you're shorthanded, you're going to value bet less than you would full ring, of course. Like, there's less likelihood of those hands being out there. I'm sad that I busted my ACR tournament, but at least, like, I can fully see what's going on now in terms of stack size, making a full stream.
And actually, the nice thing, I guess, with the timing on this tournament, I don't think these guys will be playing all night, right? The final table probably wraps up by like 10:30.
Yeah, and still no chop talk that I've seen, right? They're probably. I think this is going to play out to the end. I don't.
Well, I mean, one scenario here, if let's say Rico were to take out Harry, then they have about an even stack between.
They might chop it up,
players, and then they might say, "All right, let's let's chop it in half, because at that point, the final two, if they were to chop,
I see an ace 5.
players are actually now on break, and that means I'm going to take a break and
Okay.
go find dinner to eat.
Sounds good.
So we'll be back in about 5 minutes with continuing live coverage of the final table.
War Eagles called C-bet. Then min raise turn on ace deuce 10-5. War Eagles called the C-bet, then min raise turn on ace 10 deuce, spade, 10, 5, 50k, and 70k, and 9 spades river. Pretty much repping the boat. Yeah, it's really weird because he had queen 6 offsuit, so I'm curious why he floated the flop and then just decided to rep something without blockers. Interesting.
All right, so we're still here on break. About 2 minutes left before players come back.
So I'm actually gonna take off. I forgot that the new season of Titan Games starts tonight.
Oh, what is this show?
Titan Games is like an athlete show that Dwayne the Rock Johnson hosts, and they do like it's kind of like the sort of the new American Gladiators, and that starts momentarily. So I'm gonna check that out. But if we're still running, I'll jump back in later when it's
Yeah,
over.
well, it's a 2-hour premiere. It looks like, so this may not be
Well,
running.
looks like oh, that's awesome. I didn't know it was a 2-hour premiere, so even better.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of The Rock. I remember the good old days when he was the young guy in wrestling, and then he ended up being like the man, and then he ended up in the
Doing
Fast
all
and the
the
Furious
movies.
movie. Yeah, and then he ended up in there's that other movie where like a disastrous earthquake comes and he's like has to go rescue everybody. So
Right on. All right. Well, thanks for having me again, Matt, and good luck to everyone. And if you haven't checked out Titan Games yet, check that out because it's a pretty awesome show.
All right. So if anybody wants to join the stream once Rich is signing off here, let me know. We can add folks on. If you busted the tournament and you want to come complain about how your bust out sucked and your opponents shouldn't have been calling, you can jump on and talk about that too. And once again, there is 250 coming up on May 31st at 3 p.m. So, one of the great things about these 3 p.m. tournaments, it gives you time to go get brunch. We are going to have a brunch outdoors is allowed in New Hampshire now. So people can go out, they can have some eggs Benny or pancakes, and then come home and they can go fire at a poker tournament. All right, so Rico here putting in a raise. And Andrew folds. So here we're seeing action between Rico and Andrew. Rico's putting out a pretty small bet here. This is really only a fifth of the pot. He's getting raised. Maybe that was a feeler, but he does call. Rico fires, getting a little under a quarter of the pot here. Called again. 4 diamonds comes. That could bring a possible flush here, but Rico now taking his time to make a decision on what to do. bets again, kind of a small bet, and 7-9 is actually good here. So Rico bluffing this one basically gives up chips. I think his sizing was too small to give Andrew a chance for that big stack to really come in and fold. So now, we got Andrew Berger here sitting with 118 big blinds, Rico with about 41, and Dannenberg with 17, essentially a short stack. By the way, we so should have been providing commentary here, but we just saw that Rico got 3 of a kind fives, beats the 2 pair of Dannenberg, sends Dannenberg out of the tournament here. So Dannenberg gone. Now the final 2 are going to be playing for, again, 3,050 up top, and 2,000 for second place. Andrew has the advantage here in terms of the chip count. He is up to over 424K. Sorry, he started the hand with 431,755. Rico Donati has 208,245 chips. And so as we look at what the players have in terms of the chop value, if they were to say, hey, let's even chop this thing, it would be 2,525 each. I don't think that's going to happen here. And by the way, Andrew picking up another pot here with pocket nines better than queen 3. So heads up play underway. In terms of the stack sizes here, when we look at the big blinds between these two, we are looking at Andrew here with his chip stack having about 129 big blinds. Rico has around 46. So, again, this could all change because they get it in. Rico doubles up. He will now have the big stack. And so it's going to be an interesting battle here, heads up between these two. Ten-6, the double pair there is good. Here's an interesting pot. So Rico wins this one, but if he loses that one, that's going to be a pretty big pain for him. Perfect.
Hello.
There we go. Hey, Bert, how's it going?
How's it going, Matt?
Going good. So, all right, we got you on here. So glad the iPhone is working for you. So we're heads up right now between Andrew Bergery's got over 500,000 chips, and then Rico Donati with about 113,000. And Rico here losing to two pair. It's going to be a tough comeback for Rico if he obviously, he's not dead. He's still got chips. He's still got around 22 big blinds, but he's definitely got a lot of chips to. He's got to double up and then pick up more chips if he wants to be able to catch up to Andrew.
All right, well, Andrew's a top player over here.
And
he is a former Hampton Falls
Here we go.
dealer.
He's won one.
Yes, good for Rico over here. Rico on Saturdays normally bets horses, holidays, but this is a big thing from him because this is very unusual. He should be betting horses now, making some money over here, so he must win this.
Speaking of horses, wouldn't this have been the weekend of the Preakness, or would that be next weekend?
Next week.
Next week,
and
yeah.
Rico would definitely be there at the Brook if he wasn't playing this now.
Yeah. I actually, Rico, a very, very nice guy on the internet. I've actually never met him in person, but hopefully once we're all back to firing at real poker tournaments, we'll get that opportunity.
Do you happen to know Andrew Berger? He is currently a dealer at up Salem, New Hampshire.
In which? Okay.
He's a Chasers. He used to be Hampton Falls, but he was a trader, and he went to Salem, honest.
I may have met him, but to be honest, I haven't played much since Encore opened. I really haven't gone into Chasers because they don't run any tournaments, and so there hasn't been much to draw me into that room. And basically, it almost ends up being out of my way. To go over to Salem would take me about 30 to 35 minutes of driving, and I could get to Encore in 45. So that was sort of and if I was at the office before we were shut down due to COVID, I could get to Encore in 10 minutes with no traffic. And if it was rush hour, it was like a half hour.
Another thing, but Andrew actually, while being a dealer, he actually went and passed his bar exam and is now a professional lawyer over here. And he actually gave major advice on the Putnam Davis lawsuit online. Andrew makes a bet at $5,700 and immediately called, and he wins the hand, but King's up. He now has 533,000 in chips compared to Rico at 104.
Yeah. I saw the analysis. That's going to be an interesting lawsuit because in New Hampshire, it's not every day that in federal court there's multi-million suits filed all the time, but in Rockingham County Court, having a $100+ million lawsuit filed is not an everyday occurrence, and so I think there's going to be a decent amount of media attention, not just from kind of the poker world, but in general from the newspapers around here of that trial.
I mean, remember, the person he's suing is also famous. He's on Canterbury Lake for many years.
Right.
Also, it isn't like he's a. So you got two very famous people.
And do you know, is Canterbury Lake Park? What's their plan to get back open? Because they're obviously, like all of the other amusement parks, they've sort of had to close down due to COVID. Normally, they would have started to get open in the April to May timeframe, I think, but it'll be, I guess at this point they have not yet decided on a date for reopening. So
I would expect amusement parks to be with casinos near the end of the phases.
Right. And Universal Studios in Orlando, they're getting back open in June, and they've actually put up a disclaimer to basically say, like, it's an inherent risk coming to our parks that you might run the risk of getting infected with COVID-19. But they're planning in Florida to get back open, I think, June 1st. So
I guess I heard today the NBA is doing the same thing, that the players have to sign an agreement that Walt Disney, where it's being held, is not at risk. Ezekiel picks up the pod, and now it's up to about 140,000, 127.
So Rico, I mean, in terms of, he's not super short. He's still got over 30 big blinds, but his opponent has 128 big blinds here.
Well, two double ups, and all the Rico needs is two double ups. I don't have 500,000. Would that be correct?
Yep. Yeah. He doubles up a couple times. He'll be in the lead. Even if he gets a single double up here, he'll at least be closer. And he's slowly picking up pots right here. He's up to 141K. When do you think that the New Hampshire rooms will get back to running live?
I'm thinking probably the end of June. I don't know. My dog's going to be very upset about this, though. I mean, we went this morning. We went to 5 walks. We went to Wakefield Park twice. We went to Melrose a couple of times, the dog park. The dogs actually used to having me at home the whole day, and they're going to be like traumatized when I have to go back to work. It's been like 8 or 9 weeks. They used to me going all day to work.
Yeah,
now that's going to be being home all day. We're 9 weeks and not working.
Right. That's and in some states too, they had shut down, prior to New Hampshire and Massachusetts. Some of the states, had started to close things down even earlier. So there's some people that they're on like week 10, week 11 of not working. Granted, some of those states are also ahead of Massachusetts.
We got 4 hearts on the board here. It'd be very interesting. Andrew Berger thinking what to do.
He makes a really small bet now. Rico folds. I think with any heart, I might make a call there.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting value 5-1 on the call with the hearts, so I would expect he did not have any heart.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The 5-1 on the call, and then obviously if you have the the ace of hearts, you're gonna want to raise there because you've got the nuts. But and the blinds now are 2,000, 4,000.
So 500 ante.
Yep.
Minimum raise coming by Andrew Berger. Yeah, I mean, I actually, because Encore closed about May 13th, and I actually worked one day at the New Brook, which was May 16th, and on that day, throughout the day, everybody knew was the day they were going to close. And we actually stayed open until about 11 o'clock. We had 4 cash tables going, and a lot of people were very upset we closed. But
yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people felt like the closures overdid it, and there's obviously a lot of argument that's gone on over, did we shut down too much of the economy? Did we not shut down enough? Some people still think everything should be closed. Some people are protesting that we're not opening fast enough. It's kind of like any issue. The public's kind of there's a contingent that says like everything should be back open and it should have been open a month ago. There's a contingent that says we shouldn't open until the fall, and then there's a lot of people all over the middle. And I think ultimately what's going to get people back to feeling comfortable playing live poker is that they'll see, one, that the rooms actually are taking good steps to improve like sanitation and improve essentially general cleanliness, but just also their own personal position, right? If you're somebody who has, let's say, a pre-existing respiratory issue, you probably don't want to take any risk. But people who are, younger, healthier, don't have any chronic disease, they might say, you know what, I'll take a little bit of a
Big
chance to
bag
get
of
back to
Angel Burger.
normalcy. Well, that's about half the pot, but for Rico's all in,
Pushes all in here.
and he is called. Here we go.
12.
Ooh,
That
5,
is gonna be straight over here.
7. That's the
That
end.
ends the game.
Game
It's
over.
over.
So, wow, yeah. So,
Angel Burger
look at that.
taking it right down with the street.
Yeah, and that's. I don't know what Rico's all in shove there. Why he did that? Did he think he was gonna not get called? Like, did he think anything worse was calling? But
what did Rico have? Did he have 2 pair? Or just
so
aces?
Rico had 2 pair, aces and sixes.
You might have thought
so-
Andrew might have had a big ace or whatever, big ace.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Andrew's probably calling with the big ace there, ace king, ace queen.
No, that's exactly what I think happened there. So so Rico takes down second place. He'll collect 2,000, and then Andrew takes down top place here. He'll collect 3,050 tonight. So
I did notice that Harry Danenberg came in third, which is actually interesting because his wife, Nancy Gilman, happened to be, who's normally a very good solid player, ended up being the first one out today. So Nancy must have been sitting watching Harry for hours and hours, as Nancy came in dead last. But Harry did well for the family, coming in third.
Yeah. And so as we look at also what else is going on, so I believe tonight we've got Omaha action going.
Yeah, I'm running a tournament now. We've got 25 people, $44, $1,100 prize pool. I believe the satellite now for next Sunday we have a 250 again.
Yeah, that's right. There is going to be another satellite. It looks like 25 people decided to fire at the PLO, and there are 18 left at this point across 2 tables. So that's cool, but we'll soon be signing off because I actually need to try to eat dinner because I haven't done that yet. I've been live streaming since about 6 o'clock.
Yeah, my dog.
So,
Rocky, you want to say hi? Rocky, you want to say hi to Matt? Rocky, you hungry? Rocky's in the bed. Rocky's my little chihuahua. He seems like he would like something. He wants attention. He does not like my streaming at the moment.
Oh yeah, here's here's the dog. So that is pretty cool.
The chihuahua making his appearance on the live stream.
Yeah. Anything? So let me see if I can throw my own video up here. There we go. So anything we should hit on before we wrap this one up? Wrap up the live stream here?
We did a good job. We had Andrew Berger pull it down over here. Probably do this again July 4th if people are still out, and we have a 250 this weekend. Get ready for it.
And that's. I think people thought by 4th of July we might be back to like everybody go have fireworks and stuff, but it looks like that may not be the case. I think they've canceled the fireworks in Boston.
A lot of cities have. But
I don't know.
Closer.
Yeah, I don't know about the New Hampshire places if they've done that. It's kind of odd though, because you'd think that a fireworks show could still go off and people could just not, basically not stay, like say, hey, people need to stay 6 feet apart during the show on like a beach or whatever. But I guess they're afraid of too much of a big crowd. So.
And it's a lot different though. I mean, when you think about when we started all the home games 8 weeks ago. There was nobody on the roads. You go out now, there's lots of cars on the roads and lots of people shopping, and it's actually got a lot different over the last 7 weeks. So, and the numbers keep going down. So I'm thinking by middle of July, end of June, beginning of July, New Hampshire will open up, especially with a place like the Brook, where they make a lot of the revenue. Actually,
Right, and what the Brook
is
really
made by
needs is
horse betting and simulcasting, and the Belmont's in a few weeks, and they really want to be open for the Belmont weekends.
and that'll be huge for obviously Belmont Stakes going off. The Kentucky Derby is taking place later this year, right?
In September, it's going to be the Belmont's going to be first.
Right. So that's it's
First
weird
time
because
ever, historic.
right, the Triple Crown always went, Kentucky, Preakness, Belmont,
And
and now it's going to
Belmont,
be Belmont first, and then when is the Preakness?
I think 2 weeks after the Derby.
So actually, it's all in a different order now with the
It's going 3-1-2.
yeah.
Actually,
wow. So
the Belmont's normally a mile and a half, but this is the first time they'll leave a mile and an eighth because they don't think the horses are in physical condition to run a mile and a half at the time.
is that so? Physical condition, is that because they haven't been running for the last?
Yeah, I haven't been running
Right.
as much.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. I think, the Brook getting open would be great for that. Also, if we get sports back, having the Brook open for sports would be great too, because obviously they're going to be the first retail sports book in New Hampshire. Manchester's looking to be the second one. And they're actually using the closure to renovate and build out their sports betting area.
I mean, the Brook actually was supposed to open up for sports betting the week of March Madness. I actually got trained. I was a professional at putting in bets. We had a training session that guys from the club at DraftKings train everybody. And we were all ready for March Madness, and it all fell apart. And March Madness got canceled.
Yeah. Well, that is unfortunate. Any final words before we wrap up the live stream?
That is it. Once again, congratulations to Andrew Berger and Harry Danenberg and Rico Donati. And keep grinding. Have a good night, everybody out there.
Everybody have a great night, and hope you enjoyed the live stream. Goodbye.